N.B. Natalie, or Narrowboat Natalie, whom we call Nat for short, was first gently lowered into the water on December the 11th, 1910, not long before diesel engines became popular on the canals, rivers, and the majority of England's waterways. That meant she was first pulled along by a horse. She was born on the west bank of the Trent and Mersey Canal, and her builder was given a rough drawing and instructions by a Josiah Atkinson, an eccentric or odd young man, thus her rather strange design. Josiah himself was born near the banks of the same canal at a place called Hanley, one of the 6 towns of Stoke-on-Trent, which has forever been famous for its world-leading potteries. Having lived most of his life near one of Great Britain's busiest waterways, he loved the hustle and bustle of life on the canal. To him, this artery was the gateway to high adventure, a means of transport to the farthest ends of the country. Not quite like the adventures of Sir Francis Drake, Captain James Cook, or Christopher Columbus, but a way of exploring a nation that he held most dear to his heart. Nat was going to pay his travelling expenses. Josiah couldn't make his mind up about whether he wanted a butty, a dayboat, a flyboat, or even a josser. So much to the builder's amazement, he tried to incorporate or use a feature from all these craft. On a much smaller scale, though, as he didn't have much money. The size of Nat, some 40 feet and 3 inches, bothered her owner not a scrap, as he had the belief that the larger the boat, the harder it would be to fill her up. He wasn't that fond of hard labour, and loading working boats was very hard work indeed. Unfortunately, this meant the demand for Nat's services was rather limited. People who hired working boats to carry their goods such as coal, ironstone, pottery, clay, agricultural produce and animal fodder wanted larger, longer boats, boats that carried loads of 50 tons or more. The larger and heavier the cargo, the cheaper was the cost to transport or move it. After the launch of Nat, a ceremony accompanied by several pints of excellent Staffordshire ale, Josiah spent several long and nervous months wandering up and down both banks of the Trent and Mersey, looking for work for Nat. His travels were mostly on foot, as he could not afford to buy and keep a horse suitable for towing his narrowboat. He needed an income, or to earn money to do that. Talk about cart or boat before the horse, or whatever. Perhaps it was his Christian name, or maybe his open and honest face, but a man at Josiah Wedgwood's pottery works took pity on him, and he was told that he and Nat would be given 3 trial cargoes to take as far as the Bridgewater Canal Junction. First, he would need a horse that was familiar with or knew canal work. Finding one was rather an arduous and discouraging task, for the best-trained animals were far too expensive. There were, of course, very cheap ones to be had, but they were mostly very old, bad-tempered, or too proud to be seen towing a boat. As fate dictated, he managed to find an animal somewhere in between. Caesar. Caesar was a piebald shire horse of somewhat unknown age and ancestry. He was going cheap because he was bone idle. Yes, he had reluctantly towed working boats before, although he had rather an awkward habit of stopping for no apparent reason at all, and he was never known for volunteering for anything. At least he never bucked or broke into a gallop, and those were noble traits for a canal horse. His pace was so slow that the wags at the waterside taverns and inns swore blind that he was going backwards, and should he enter into a race against a statue, the statue would easily win.